Greetings gamers, and I have a really strange video for you guys today. I think I might have accidentally discovered the meta for elite clues for both irons and normal player accounts. And this method is very cringe, so I must warn you in advance. And there's also a few things we have to confirm with the mod Ash if he's able to confirm with us some facts. But to go over the method, you might have already guessed it by watching. Essentially what you do is you run to the lava dragons and you tag with venom each one. Now the lava dragon spot, there's 8 spawns. And for clarification, the drop rate for an elite clue scroll from lava dragons is 1 in 250. Now if you have the Ring of Wealth I, which is the imbued version equipped, it halves the drop rate to 1 in 125. And if you have the elite combat achievements done, it gives an additional 5%, which puts the rate at 1 in 118. So every 118 lava dragon killed, you get 1 elite clue. Now what you would do is you would teleport to Anakill with really rag gear. I brought Serp Trident, which is essential. And then you might want to bring a little bit of mage accuracy, but you don't have to go too hard on it. I just brought a Mystic piece and a Glory, and that was more than enough to get a pretty good freeze chance. You can also bring an Imbued Heart to ensure you hit your first hit. Now the way that Venom works on these monsters is if you hit with a Trident of the Swamp, you have a 25% chance of venoming the opponent. However, if you're also wearing a Serp Helm, the chance goes to 100%, so it's guaranteed. And you would essentially tag and do a hit splat on each of the lava dragons for a total of 8 of them. And then you would run away and teleport back to the bank. Now, when you're running at the bank, you could, or running towards lava dragons, you can blow glass for like 0 time XP, which in theory would be efficient, but honestly, like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm just trolling in this video, of course. But you could also do other things like make potions or, train other skills. Now, when you're at the bank and you're waiting for the lava dragons to die, which by the way takes around 4 minutes to 4 minutes 40 seconds, depends on how much you hit on the first hit. You can do some skilling activities like herblower or crafting, or you could also do some collection log efficient things like maybe catch an inventory of eclectics or do 1 medium clue and so on. And that essentially increases your allows for the effective rate to stay high as it is. Now in this example I'm just blowing glass because it's the easiest thing to do. That's still somewhat efficient, but you can definitely do other things and that's up to you to find out. Now if you do the calcs for this method, it actually comes up to 2.7 elite clues per hour, but that assumes you do not loot anything except the elite clue, which obviously you're probably going to want to get the shards or the bones or maybe the hides for some money or some XP or whatever. So if you do decide to loot, your trip goes down significantly from a minute 30 per 8 kills to a minute 50 per 8 kills. So you do lose out on around 0.5 clues an hour by doing it that way. Now it's up to you to determine if those extra kills for the elite clue chance is worth the loot you get. Which I think the lava shards are really worth picking up as an iron, but everything else is meh. Besides maybe like a few of the GP drops like the rune items and the fire orbs and the onyx bolt tips. Now, that's essentially the method. I mean, I'm going to let the clip roll out for the next trip. Now we're just basically waiting for the next set to spawn. So there's not much more to add to this method, honestly. What's cool is because Jagex made an update recently, I think it was on Wednesday, they had an issue with the Venom that was working on NPCs like as they died and when they respawned. So they patched it, and by patching it, they allowed it so you can Venom NPCs, and they stay Venomed even if you de-aggro them. So in the past, if you would do this method, as soon as you left the aggro range of the lava dragon, the venom effect would disappear and be nulled. So it would obviously not work. But now with this this change, it would work even if you're at the bank. And yeah, 2.7 elite clues an hour. So just to like recap, the efficient rates for normal accounts is around 2 elites an hour. So this is actually superior to that. But I think that includes doing the clues for them, which this does not include doing the clues. So maybe it might be somewhat equivalent to Shade's method for normies. However, for Irons, this method is definitely overpowered. It's over 2 to 3 times better than Seracnus. So for Seracnus, you have to do around 1 hour of straight siphoning Seracnus efficiently to get an elite clue. But this method, it would only take you around 22 minutes or something. So definitely a huge buff to elite clues for Irons. And fun fact, actually, this alone, if you do this method for collection log completion, you probably save like 80,000 hours in the collection log, which is actually kind of stupid. So the Ironman collection log completionist just went down by like 60% from this method alone, which is not really viable because I don't think you can do zero time shit for that long. But you can also do other things too. Like one thing that we were theory crafting on Discord with Abe and Master Barter and Rachni is you could do the same thing but for green dragons because they have a 1 in 64 chance for hard clues. So that's already pretty good. And you could also do, like, for example, 1 or 2 games of VM boosting or a game of Soul Wars boosting. So you can basically do this while working on other collection log goals. And so the one thing that we need to confirm, and I already tweeted Mod Ash for this question, so hopefully he answers me. If he doesn't, then we can assume that's not the case. But essentially, we need to know if your character has to be physically in the wilderness for you to roll the ×2 chance of the Ring of Wealth, or does the NPC have to die in the wilderness for it to roll the ×2 chance? Because that makes a big difference. Essentially, if it's the former, and you don't have to be in the wildy, that's huge because you can do whatever you want and only run back to tag, revenom, or if you see the Elite Clue broadcast. However, if you have to be physically in the wilderness, that means you have to tele back to the wildy before the first lava dragon dies, and while you're running to the lava dragons, they're all dying and respawning, so your timing would have to be basically impeccable. It's still technically the same clues per hour, but it does make it a lot harder, and a lot harder to do zero time activities on the side that's not like pure skilling. But this is a start. I think it's really funny. It's a really cringe funny method. I'm definitely not going to be grinding this, so feel free to do it yourself. But it's funny to share it out there to show that us, the community, are capable of discovering crazy methods that save insane amount of time. And although most people think the collection log is unbeatable, by finding methods like these over time, the time to finish the log is just going to get faster and faster. And also know that I'm zero time charging glories too. You have to keep that in mind. It's 200 IQ play right there. So I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you comment, make sure you share it around. And don't rag other people doing this method. Be polite, hop worlds. And peace. I just want to add to make sure that people understand correctly. It's effective clue scrolls per hour. So you're not actually getting 2.7 clues in 1 hour of work. You're getting less than that. However, effectively, considering that all the other things you do are not related to elite clues, it becomes 2.7 elite clues an hour, this method specifically. I'm not sure if that made sense. It's like, yeah, so it's not like you can do this forever. Like, eventually you will run out of things to zero time, and then it's not worth doing the method anymore. You're probably better off doing Seracnus or something else. But it's still a really cool idea, so keep in mind.